Coach,
you guys are tied for #1 in total defense right now. Just from your perspective, what do you feel like has allowed you to be so consistent over the years? It seems like you guys are always up there.
I think we've got good players. We've done a good job recruiting the right kind of guys that have a humility, work ethic, toughness about them, pride, good leaders. I think the quality of the character of the guys you bring in, be reflective to a certain degree of level of consistency and commitment. The guys that again know how to work, like to work, again have a humility to be coached. So I think all of those things combined. Leadership of Coach Sweeney. He's got to, at the end of the day, he's got to support that, lead the charge. For us on both sides, coordinators, position coaches, and again, he's relentless of meeting that standard. And some years it might be reflective of you being a top 5 unit, top 10 unit. In some years you might be a top 25 unit, but just maximizing whatever you have and whatever you are. Getting that out of our guys. I think, me personally as a coach, I just take a lot of pride in getting better every day, and not being satisfied, wanting more, expecting more, and then being consistent as a coach. Don't change from week to week, and I learned that just as a player. Trying to get more out of less, and just really focusing in on the details and the little things. I think that's what shows up, being very committed to where you're at, and having a passion and a love for the grind, and so getting your guys to buy into all of those things. I think we talk about it all the time. Just the best players and the best teams, and the best units are ones that get a little bit better every day, and then again, if you're something that you're consistent. That's ultimately what wins for you. That's what lasts, and that's what has staying power, is consistency. And so, if you're here as a consistent program or a consistent defense or a consistent coach, then there's all these other factors that support that, that get you to that level, that allow you to kind of stay there. Sometimes you get up here, and what you don't want to do is those troughs where you're sinking below that consistent level. That's what gets you beat.
Coach, aside from having some really good quarterbacks over the years like Lamar Jackson, what makes Bobby Petrino such a good offensive coach?
He's done a good job recruiting good skill and explosive playmakers. He's a very good play caller, play design, knows what his strengths are, and puts him in successful positions. He's an aggressive play caller. Those are some of the very important things that go along with who he is and who his offenses have been.
Tony said that their struggles this year on the other side of the ball is because of the youth and just a young team. Is it the same way when you look at the?
Yeah, I see a good-looking football team. I know if you go back and look at the beginning of the year, Coach Petrino's never been one to make all these declarations. We're going to be this, and we're going to be this, and we're going to be this, and every year it's the same thing. And then sometimes it meets it, and sometimes it doesn't. He kind of calls it how it is. He felt this was his most talented team, this was his fastest team, and the most explosive team. And he felt that they'd be a little more consistent this year, post Lamar Jackson. So again, they've had a lot of opportunities to win a lot of their games, and you got to make layups. We know what that's like. If you're not making layups, it's hard to get into a rhythm, and it's hard to win. You got doing just the things that are there, and those are things I'm sure they're putting in front of their team. Let's make the layups. This isn't real difficult, and because they're very, very dangerous, and it's a very, very deep group of receivers, big, fast. We know who they are. receiver at the skill position. Crum's played a lot. They've got I think 3 of their linemen that played a lot of ball as well. And they know us, we know them. And but I think those are the things that Tony's probably alluding to. Probably should have beat Florida State by a couple scores easily. But you got to make the layups. Everybody in here can make layups, and not many of us can shoot the 3, consistently. But we can all make layups and should make layups in our own jobs. And if you're making layups, everything's great. If you're not making layups, you got nothing looks good. So.
Does that freshman wide receiver Atwell kind of remind you a little bit of Greg Dortch from Wake?
Yeah, very fast, very twitchy, very explosive, great playmaker. He got a seam ball on us last year. Tremendous speed. Tough to cover up.
Coach, DeJuan Pass had an up and down year. What have you seen on him when you open up the tape on him?
Watching the Alabama game, and they look good. Really good. Just big, athletic, can run. He's got good mobility, and just stands tall in the pocket. He's got a big arm, and those are the main things.
Your players often talk about your intensity, and Coach Elliott alluded to it this morning. Is it football that kind of brings out the intense side of you, or do you consider yourself kind of an intense guy in other avenues?
No, I mean, I'm just competing and trying to do well. Just have always been. Just I wake up. I'm coaching and working for my job today. Just that's how I've always felt, and it just felt a responsibility to my colleagues and our players and to the people that you represent, Clemson University, to do the best job that you possibly can. I think passion and intensity are part of that if you want to do great. And I've got a love for my job, and so a lot of that is easy for me because I love what I do. But just to feel a very strong sense of responsibility to in this position. There's a million people that love to have this opportunity. Don't screw it up. So that's where I come from.
Are you similar in other aspects to your life?
I don't think so. I think people that meet me beyond game day or practice or whatever would say, well, he's actually a nice guy. You have a long, easy conversation. I love life. I love people. There's football coaches. Again, that's what I do, but that's really not who I am. I love to compete, but I'm pretty easy going off the field.
Brent, going back to Saturday, Xavier Kelly had an explosive sack play. Can you talk about his development in the defensive line since you moved him there?
Yeah, so he's very disruptive on Saturday. Even he helped a lot of other guys make plays, not really necessarily to the naked eye, because somebody else got credit for the tackle, but he made a lot happen, and he's just that trajectory and where he's going. If he continues to keep his head down, he has improved just his knowledge base and understanding what he's supposed to do. And there's a lot that goes on where we don't just run 2 calls on defense. So there's a lot of mental part of him playing fast and disruptive, and there's still so much more growth that is going to take place again if he continues to work hard. But he's got again just a freaky explosiveness and strength and power and speed, all that combination for such a young player, just very, very, very rare. And I think he's just now learning how to practice, and he's got a long way to go still. But he's got such a great group of guys around him that have poured into him, that showed him. Coach Hall's done a great job of bringing him along the right way, handling him the right way. But Xavier's, he's been great. Just has let you coach him hard, and has a lot of pride in his performance, and really not wanting to let his teammates down. And so there's a sense of humility that a lot of people don't really know about him that he really has. And same thing, he doesn't want to let people down. around him. I think that's helped expedite his growth within the confines of what we're trying to get him to do.
Coach Sweeney told us last week that you intend to redshirt KJ Henry if you can avoid some injuries, and that he actually approached you all about that. How unique is that for a guy that talented?
Well, it is very unique, and I love just his dad's a coach, so Keith had reached out and said, hey man, I'm all for whatever y'all want to do. KJ's he can here's where I see he can benefit, but he's all yours. And so really appreciated that about Keith, and KJ knows the benefits of what a redshirt year can do for him, growth physically in particular, and then mentally. And we've knew that all along, just wanted to continue to develop him as much as we could. And again, you never know what can happen. You lose a guy or two guys, next thing you know, you really need him. He's in too deep. So, but he's been wonderful, and I think that's really going to pay huge benefits for him. One, being able to play with the new rule, and then two, getting a taste of some power hour here prior to Christmas.
How would you assess Dexter's season so far?
It's good, man. He's so much better mentally and physically to where he was a year ago at this time. What a tough guy. A year ago, people have no idea just the pain that he was in, and he's still a young player. We see this gigantic human being that's got such a special skill set that you still need to play and develop. There's so much more to for just to look at him a year ago and he just barely played, and then not being able to practice and that type of thing, and still go out and have to perform on one leg. Says a lot about him. His toughness, but he's been really good, very disruptive. I don't even know. I don't look at stats and all that from week to week. We talk about who's going to be the player of the game from week to week, and sometimes the stats tell a story and sometimes they don't. And but he's been a very disruptive player, and has really played well for us this year. He's continuing to get better. He's still certainly far from maxed out to where he's going to be.
How much of a kick did you get out of seeing Dex and Christian lining up in the I formation Saturday?
Well, that was awesome. I didn't get to see it when it happened, but saw it. Some replays of it. We practiced against it. Had more success than I thought it would. Kendall Joseph spiked that gap and stoned him in the backfield, stuffed it up pretty good in practice. I can't remember if I blitzed him in there or not, but that's a lot of weight going downhill at you, and a lot of fun. They got a lot more to what they're doing though, so in that package. So it's going to be fun to see.
Brent, are you expecting another visit from the Power Rangers to your house come Wednesday night?
I'm putting much thought into it. I'm sure they'll be around. I might be up here at work though. So they might miss us, but I'm sure those guys will have some fun for sure.
Devin was saying just how Christian, he goes out, he's on field goal team, field goal block, all these different teams. I guess his willingness to do.
Yeah, he just loves to play. He loves to compete, loves to play. You're keeping score. He's a great competitor. I don't know if he's at his finest when he's competing because he's just got a lot to him. But competing is something that's just a very natural part of his DNA. Never gets tired, has tremendous endurance, very selfless in everything that he does. Y'all have been covering Clemson a long time, I'm sure, and I've been coaching a while. And I don't know that we'll ever come across another guy like him. Very unique and on so many levels, and very talented. You can't just do it just because you like it. You got to be talented too. But really, really, really special guy. There's just the depth of who he is pretty remarkable. We get to see him out there in that jersey in 42, but there's so much more to him than just that. But I think that's just a gift that God's given him. The selflessness and the willingness and the love for the game, the purity that you can appreciate so much, that really, makes everybody better.
does Christian maybe have more fun and play with as much joy as anybody you've ever been
Yeah,
around?
so it's a hard dynamic because you like that, and then you're trying to focus and get mad and put everybody on edge at practice, and he comes up and pitches you in the booty. You know what I mean? It's just like, hey man, this ain't the time. I'm not happy. Right now. It's the dangest thing. But that's who he is, and so you certainly want to promote that. But he knows when to really get serious and when not to. But he's got a very playful, fun-loving spirit. But man, when he's taking reps, he's not out there. He's got a lot of dog to him, a lot of inner city Springfield in him when it's time to practice. Really, and I mean that with all sincerity. He's not out there giggling and all that when it's time to take. I'm just talking practice reps against the scouts. He's playing to win, and that's what you love about him. And that's why you have this certain level of tolerance, just for the fun-loving, joyful, spirit that he has, really, all the time. But he's a focused, serious dude about his business too. So it's just a very unique blend. He can turn it on and off just like that, and so you appreciate that about him.
Brent, Trevor Lawrence has been a starting quarterback for a few weeks now. When you guys go good on good in practice, you've seen a lot of good quarterbacks on the other side of that ball, Deshaun and being one of those guys. What have you seen about Trevor that sticks out to you as you guys have practiced against him?
Well, for a young guy, just his decision making, how fast he's able to process, and then the skill set to execute it, with precision, with quickness, with velocity, with timeliness, just all of it, man. He knows exactly what to do, and he's done that since he's gotten here. Very, very unique. And it's been fun to watch him get more and more comfortable. Assuredness, we've seen that, the assuredness and all that, but to see just that growth from where we were, maybe A&M to where we are right now. But what you all seeing is what we've been seeing really since he's gotten here, and there's, it's only going to get better, and it's pretty dang good right now. But he's very special. I don't need to, I'm kind of saying the obvious here. Johnny come lately, but he's, again, to me, the instincts, the intuition, the anticipation, the accuracy. He's not seeing, cover 4 every snap. He's seeing, not just from us, I'm talking about really everybody. And, what he's able to do consistently is pretty remarkable. But I'm stating the obvious.
Is there a time of practice or scrimmage or something that you've had where you could have schemed something up and you thought, I'll get him on this one? And then...
No, I mean, really, I don't really think it like that, but I'm like, did he just really do that? I never like, wow, man, that was hard to do against us, but, so part of, yes, and that was just, we in our meeting rooms with the players, they're the ones, you got a guy's doing something pretty special, and he was doing that from the very first day. Where all of a sudden they start chattering, you're watching Pascal or team, you're like, whoa, back. I can't get mad at the guys for that one. And it was like multiple times a day, I'm sure the quarterback coach is going, no, and it's like, yes, It's like, how did he put that in there? He's done that a lot, really, a lot since fall camp in particular, once he really knows what to do.
Does that frustrate you as a coach when that happens, when you have where he gets it in there and you can't coach the guys up on that play?
That would definitely get me frustrated if it was game day, but not when it's your guy. Not at all. I might get mad at our guys, but it doesn't frustrate me. That's a different. When you feel like, again, a year ago, I was very frustrated when we played quarterback at NC State. Finley, that was a very frustrating game. Not even as much mad at our guys as just frustrating because he was on, and you feel like you can get things under control. But with Trevor, it's our quarterbacks, and generally speaking, usually I just get mad at our guys.
Have you seen a guy that can get the ball to the boundary in the screen game with the velocity that he does, and how much stress does that put on defense?
Once again, it's just, it's on top of you quickly outside, and you get 2-on-1 or 3-on-2. It's hard, defensively, and you got to match the precision. It's not easy to do when you have the kind of skill that we do outside. So, the timeliness is a big part of it. And again, if they can get downhill on you, it's very difficult, to force you to defend every patch of grass. Some people have the ability to do it, and a lot of people don't.
Coach, you talked about the grind and how stressful, but how fresh do you feel like that your group is heading into November?
So we talked about that last week, just where we were a year ago to where we are now. And again, I don't know the total snap numbers, but I just know what I've seen. And so obviously we haven't had the wear and tear on the tread, so to speak, that we did a year ago. Guys are just we've played a lot more guys. And we've had a few games that have, we've definitely developed our character and found out who we are, whether it was Syracuse or Texas A&M, where guys had to play a little more, and we got tested. But, from mental to physical, I think that we're at a great place in both aspects with our health and just mentally. Guys haven't had to play as many snaps. Certain positions have played more. I bet you our corners have played a little more, and probably than maybe like a guy like Tanner Muse or Kayvon. Those guys have probably played a little more, but we've developed our depth there, and we'll continue to do that. But to go in the stretch run here, starting November, I think that we haven't been in this position defensively with the snap counts like they are probably since 14, I would guess. The depth that we had, in 14, and maybe we have a little bit more. I'm not sure if we're as good as the 14 defense or not. I don't know. They've had a great finish to them, and we just squeeze the life out of people down the stretch run, and so I'm not sure if we're that quote unquote good or not. We're good in our own right, but I think that we might have a little bit more depth in the secondary than maybe that we did that. Our front was really good.
You talk about squeezing the life out of people down the stretch in that year. Willie, after the game on Saturday, kind of complained that his players, he thought, quit some of them. I know that's not a quote you would expect from a coach after every game, but is that sort of part of what you want to see your defense do, is just wear those guys down to the point that you're literally like breaking their spirit a little bit?
I mean, you always you want to discourage people by how you play, and whether it's demoralized or whatever. At the end of the day, if you do really well, that's you're hopeful that you're capable of doing that well. But I don't know. That's not on our goal sheet. We got like 6,000 goals, and demoralize the opponent is make them quit. Coaches throw around all kinds of verbiage and all that all the time, but that's. I think you understand. We want to play well, and we want to play well enough so we can get an opportunity to play other guys that deserve to play. And so, how it is. A game like that, there's not that kind of real true disparity between the two teams. But sometimes things just go your way, and things can get out of hand, and you get in a really good rhythm. And that happens. So you do it long enough, you're on both sides of it. Being on the other side's a tough side to be on, for sure.
Thanks, Coach.